Okay, yesterday we discussed the difference between work and play, and we defined work. What is work? True or true?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, today we're going to get into a conversation on extra effort. And before I do that, I just want to share a couple numbers with you. You know what? Before I do that, let's do this. Here's what Gary says on page 28 in the foreword. We are in the era of extra effort. Please write it down. And I'm going to prove to you in just a moment that you have been. This is not something new. You, real estate agents, you've been in an era of extra effort. You don't need the market to shift from more to less for it to be an era of extra effort for you. It always has been. And add on, we're moving from a market of more to less. Now, don't leave. Don't get discouraged. Everything is going to be okay. This is a skill-based market. And if you're listening to me right now, you are developing the skills that it takes to thrive in a shifting market. All right, Gary goes on to say, a shift becomes the era of opportunity for those who are willing to do what others won't. Oh, please write that down. A shift becomes an era of opportunity for those who are willing to do what others won't. So my question is, are you willing to do what others won't? And before you say yes, hold on, because we're going to define that in just a few minutes. The answer may depend on what I'm going to tell you. In a shift, the effort that got you where you are isn't going to keep you there. If you just came from the era of average effort, then most likely you notice that getting by, in quotations, getting by effort returned getting by, in quotations, results. Now, listen to this. In Coral Springs, Parkland, year to date, there have been 751 closings. Good or bad? The answer is, I don't know. It has to be, I don't know. And maybe neither. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. Now, there's over 50 real estate offices that are a part of that production year to date in Coral Springs, Parkland. By the way, Keller Williams Coral Springs, congratulations, year to date, you're number one. That's huge. That's huge.
John,
yes, sir.
I'm sorry, out of the 751, how many of those closed sales came from us?
Well, let's do it this way, Michael. The percentage of market share that you have, and you're number one in market share. And the percentage that you have has increased by 75% year over year. You guys following me? Okay. You are at, and I'll tell you what it is. You are at 5.3%. Hard to believe number one is only 5.3%. And it's true. Well, there's over 50 offices. And a year ago, it was 3.7%. Now, a year ago, there were 920 homes sold through the same time period. So the number of sales has decreased from 920 to 751 year over year. Is that more or is that less? It's, guys, pay attention. It's less. All right. Are you listening to me? In a shift, the effort that got you where you are isn't going to keep you there. Look at it this way. In the era of average effort, it was easier to attain an acceptable level of success. You could do little and still get enough and maybe even get a lot. A market shift changes the achievement formula by raising the bar. What is it raising the bar on? It's raising the bar on effort. This is an era of extra effort. It is raising the bar of required effort and lowering the results for average effort. All of a sudden, what you did in the past no longer delivers an acceptable level of success. So this time is like that time. And I'm going to talk to you about 2008. And I'm going to talk to you about a friend of mine, Gene Rivers. And he did a study, and here's what he found in 2008. By the way, for all of you stat geeks out there, here's a number. Listings taken, buyer agreements, 126. Just write that down. Listings taken, buyer agreements, 126. Closings, 25. Now, just figure out what percentage of the, I know Desiree, the look on her face was priceless. Just figure out the percentage of signed agreements that turned into closings during a period of time that they gathered this data in order to study the market and determine how many people do I need to talk to in order to close a sale. That's how the conversation started. By the way, it's 20%. It's 20%. 20% of listings taken and buyer agency agreements turned into closed sales. By the way, if you've been listening, you've heard me say that when I talked about the Dietz team selling real estate in 2008. I said, I told you it was 20%. We had 70 active listings at one time, 70. In the fall of 2008, in one of the toughest hit markets in the country, Florida, top agent and successful businessman Gene Rivers worked with a group of agents who tracked their efforts and results over an 8-week period. On average, for every 34 contacts an agent made with a prospective buyer or seller, they netted one closed transaction. What makes that number notable is that past studies have shown an average contact to close ratio of around 24-1. So we went from 24-1 to 34-1. Okay, big deal. Pay attention. 10 additional contacts per transaction may not feel like a lot more, but you must realize this means you had to increase your efforts by a challenging 42% just to get the same results. If you kept giving the same past market 24-1 effort, if you didn't change your effort, your business would likely drop off by a hard-hitting 30% or more. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Courtney Yates, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, who had always tracked the numbers that drove her business, shared with me that during this market, for every 43 showings, I'd get a contract. Wow. 43 showings to get a contract. It used to be 10. Then it was 17. Then it was 43. For Courtney, extra effort translated to 33 additional showings for every sale. This time might be like that time. Pay attention. A 330% increase in effort from the one market to the shifted one. Florida agent Pilar Moscaso discovered she needed to make an additional 10 contacts every day just to stay on track. She reported that connecting with 10 people required an average of 25 additional calls per day. That's why top productivity coaches Diana Kokoska and Tony DeSellis say, when the market reinvents itself, you must reinvent yourself. You simply need to pick the result you want and match the effort those results require. Now, here's something interesting for all of you who are thinking, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. 34 contacts to close a sale. That's, if you're working 50 weeks, 5 days a week, 250 days a year, and your goal is to close 25 sales, do the math. It's like 4 conversations a day. To me, that's too easy. I'm going to change those numbers. I'm going to tell you that it's 50 to 1. I want you to think it's 50 to 1. I want you to plan for 50 to 1. By the way, if your goal was to close 25 sales, and why am I choosing 25? Because that's the number used on figure 4 on page 30, 25. If it's 50 to 1, and I want to close 25 sales, that's 1,250 contacts. If double it, my goal is to close 50 sales, that's 2,500 contacts. Now, for 2 years, we have closed every single one of these Survive to Thrive conversations with what is work? Work is 20 conversations a day. It's not 17. It's not 19. It's not 18. It's not 17. Because if you settle for 17, you didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that you didn't get because you didn't have the conversation. It's that simple. Now, here's the interesting thing. Pay attention. Remember, the number I shared with you was 2,500 conversations. For everybody listening at home and everybody in the room, get out your calculators and fact check me. If I'm wrong, tell me. 50 conversations to close 1 sale, right? If my goal is to close 50 sales, take 50 times 50. I'm pretty sure that's 2,500. Yes or yes? Okay. Now, 20 conversations a day times 250 days a year, which is 50 weeks, 2 weeks on vacation, working 5 days a week in lead generation. Again, get out your calculator, fact check me. I'm pretty sure that's 5,000 conversations. Okay. Here's what I'm hearing if I'm a real estate agent like you. I'm hearing good news. Holy cow, I'm excited because this means when I hit that number, if the ratio is 50 to 1, I'm going to close 100 sales. Now, what if the ratio is 100 to 1? Okay, I closed 50 sales. If I told you that it was going to take 20 conversations a day, every day you have a job, it's not 19, it's not 18, it's not 17, it's 20. And at the end of the year, you're going to close 50 sales with an average commission of $10,000, which means your gross commission income is $500,000. I'm hiring you, Juanita, to make 20 conversations a day. And at the end of the year, you're going to make $500,000. Who wants to apply for that job? One person. So exciting. Now, that's 5,000 conversations. Now, I thought something's still not right because these numbers aren't making sense. Here's the part that's missing. These are first-time conversations. These are not follow-up conversations. These are first-time conversations. So when you're talking to somebody, you're focused on connecting, building a relationship, adding them to your database, or scheduling an appointment and entering them into your pipeline. And those 20 conversations are the original conversation that got them into your database or into your pipeline. Now you have lead generation and you have lead follow up. So pay attention. Everything to the left of this line is lead generation. This is where those 20 conversations happen. times 250 days equals 5,000 conversations. And Michael met with somebody a year and a half ago who went into this giant area in the middle called follow up. Now, he could have, just for conversation purposes, had 20 conversations with them in the last year. Every single one of those conversations do not count as part of that 20. You guys hearing me?
Yes.
That's lead follow-up. In order to create what? Emotional proximity, which means what?
That you're right there when they're ready to make a decision.
You're the closest person to them when they're ready to make a decision. It's no, 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 go away. I'm never going to hire you. I don't like you. Come over here and list my house. Now you got a closing and you made money because you did the work. You put in the extra effort in order to get the results. Now, is it going to be easy to have 20 conversations per day in lead generation and an additional however many conversations it is in lead follow-up to get you to the results you want? Say no, it's not going to be easy. But here's the thing, guys, it's possible. It's possible. Michael, your hand's up. Talk to us.
John, so the 20 a day, that's new conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So the follow-up calls don't count as part of our 20 a day. Is that what you've just said?
What I'm telling you.
Yeah. I did the math on the 34 contacts to one transaction. That's 170 contacts for 5 sales. 8,500 contacts equals 50 sales, right? I just kind of multiplied it out. Does that sound accurate?
Do it.
Right, 34 contacts times 5, right? 5 days a week, that's 170
Okay.
times 50 weeks.
No. It's 34 contacts for one closed sale. I may not just be tracking what you're saying. It's 34 contacts for one closed sale. Now, if your goal was to have an average of one closing per week, take 34 times 5. And that's going to tell you how many conversations you would have to have that week if 34 is the number. 170. So take 170 divided by 5. And that's how many conversations you need to have per day in order to close one sale per week. 170 divided by 5.
You're back to the 34.
Well, there you go. So 34 conversations a day. Well, no, something's not right. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
This is why when I
All
sit
you
down
gotta do
to
is
do my
quack, quack,
homework.
quack, 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 quack.
Thank you,
quack.
James. Thank you. Yeah, the ducks don't have calculators. They're not pulling out a calculator and going, how many people do I have to quack at?
Just
Thank you,
keep
James.
quacking, baby.
There you go, my friend. That's it. That's it. How do I come up with 34 contacts equals one closing? Because it's in the book. It's not a number that I came up with. It's from page 30 of XXX from Shift Forward section. And it's a study that Gene Rivers did back in 2008 in which they tracked conversations to leads, to appointments, to agreements, to closings. And what they found was it took 34 contacts or 34 original conversations in order to close one sale. Guys, I think this is encouraging. I really do. I understand if you don't. I do. And for me, game on, advantage me. Michael, did that help? You went away. Where are you at? Get back on the screen with me.
There it is.
Talk to me. Take yourself off mute. Let's talk.
Yeah, no,
No, it didn't.
yeah, no. Yes, there's some clarity, but I think kind of the way you were explaining it didn't quite make sense, because then you went back to 170 contacts equaled one sale. Well, that doesn't equate to the numbers that we just talked about.
That's not true. Yeah, forget that. If you could erase that part of the conversation, that's why I said I always do the homework ahead of time. Jess Popo, holy cow, help me out.
I told him, don't get lost in the numbers.
Thank you.
Right? I agree, just keep quacking. The biggest thing is, are you quacking enough? You should know where you're not quacking enough.
Mm. You
Don't
know,
get lost in the numbers.
magic. Thank you, Jess. Love that. And for anybody who's new to our call, can you just imagine they're like quacking? What are they talking about? This is a weird group. Okay. All right, give me a couple ahas, guys. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom. There's like 20 of you. And if you're in the room, talk to me. And if somebody can keep an eye on the screen up here and tell me if you got your hands up, that would be great.
Focus on the process, not the results.
Thank you, James. Write it down, write it down, write it down. Focus on the process, not the results. Guys, it's so simple. It's climbing Mount Everest. It's just the next step. It's just the next step. If I go out and walk 4 miles a day, I'm not going to focus on walking 4 miles. I'm just going to focus on taking the next step. It's so simple. When I did the walk from Boca to Key West, I didn't set out to walk from Boca to Key West. I set out to walk 10 miles every week, 1 day a week. Started in Boca and just headed south. And eventually I was in Key West.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it took 48 weeks.
Yes.
It was easy. It was easy and fun and really hot. All right, give me some ahas. Talk to me.
Just to keep, like you said, just to keep going, make those calls. Yesterday, they were working on my roof and they had completely blocked my driveway when I got out. So I was gonna go home. I went home, like there's nowhere to park. I live right around the corner. So I'm like, let me head back to the office. And Aaron's like,